Okay, I'm gonna do a story time from when I was a teenager. I'm gonna start talking about those. Now, those were the ones that I did prior to this one was story times when I was a little older, but it's some more though. I'm going back now. So, I'm gonna let y'all know why I was always a fighter. I'm definitely gonna let you know that as well. But so we would go to jams, parties in a. I'm from the South Bronx, Manhattan. I grew up in Manhattan, 164th, 163rd, Amsterdam, and Broadway. That's where I was. Actually, when I came home when I was brought home from the hospital, that's where I lived at. Right, 164th, 163rd, Amsterdam, and Broadway. I was 3 days old when I was brought to that apartment over there, 442 West 164th Street. Right, boom. Moved from Manhattan to the Bronx. When I lived in Manhattan, there was no fighting. I didn't have no fights with my friends. Maybe small arguments because those were not the friends. When I moved to the Bronx, that's when the fighting was. That's when I started fighting, right? But me being a fighter started from me being abused growing up, right? The lady that raised me, she was abusive, hands down. Y'all heard of this story, Lisa Steinberg and all that in New York City. Anyway, she that story was they abused a young girl and she died. I always thought I was gonna be a victim like her, right? The lady that raised us considered she was my foster parent. She wasn't my real parent, as I found out later on. I wrote a book about it. I don't know why I don't have my book right here so I can be showing y'all. But anyway, this is she was abusive. She abused us. She abused us. So that's where I got the fight in me at, because when you're getting abused, growing up, hands on fire, hit with pipes, hit with brooms, hit with sticks. She tried to break my soul. Whatever you can think about, bats, broomsticks, broke over us, pipes, everything. And that's where my fight came in at, right? That's why I was always angry. And that's why I fought, right? And that line from The Color Purple, all my life, I had to fight. And that like I said, that resonated with me because I was a fight. I started fighting because once I grew up, I still had that. I had a like the it's like I needed to get it out because I was angry. I was an angry kid. I was angry. Anyway, so being that I was angry, when we moved to the Bronx, from the moment, mind you, I'm teenage. We gonna skip past being a young kid coming up to teenage. I moved to the Bronx when I was 11. I met a whole new bunch of friends that started. They was fighters. They all was fighters in my building, 1405 College Avenue. They all was fighters. I come up to the Bronx, timid, shy, all of that. Still had that in me a little bit. So that's why when I think I told her on one of my story times that I wasn't always a fighter. I started being a fighter when I moved to the Bronx, because now I feel all of this aggression and anger inside of me boiling, right? So I'm fighting. I'm fighting with my friends. They fighting with me just to be my friends. These kids was fighting with me just to be my friend. And I never understood it. Like, why are you fighting me to be my friend? Those friends in Manhattan, they wasn't fighting me to be my friend. We just was. It was normal to be friends in Harlem when I was in Manhattan, right? So anyway, these kids, they were banging on my door, kicking my door and running. They'll see me, they'll pull my hair, they'll find me, oh, we don't like you. So remember when I tell you I never had nobody say that they really didn't like me, but these were kids that liked me, but they just wanted to fight me. I didn't understand that. Like this was all new to me. So I was learning me as a kid and all of that, and I was fighting, right? So I say that to say, after the fighting and all of that, they taught me. Like, I started hanging out with them. We was fighting. They was like, oh, come out with me, come hang out with me. So it was like, used to be like 5 or 6 of us. We would go to neighborhood to neighborhood. These are like the 80s. When I tell you, people, we was out in the street. They was like, we had to come in before the street light came on. These were the 80s. I grew up in the 80s, right? So when when I hung out with my friends, we going around neighborhoods, we fighting kids for no reason. I'm following. I'm a follower. Your girl was a follower. Yes, I was. Like, I was following because I wanted to fit in, right? I found out all of this as I grew up. Like I was following the fit in with the crew and all that. We all did that, right? Maybe not we all, but I did that. Because now these are group of friends that I really gonna go hard for, right? So one time, this is like the first big fight I could remember, right? This is one of the biggest ones. My friend, God bless her soul, she gone now. One time we on a block and all we see is her running to the block with no clothes on, no clothes on. And we like, yo, what happened? So we got, one of my friends gave her a shirt. Like, yo, put this shirt on or whatever. One of the guys gave her a shirt, put the shirt on. She crying. She like, yo, this is in my teenage years now. I'm like 13, 12, 13. This is when I'm getting money. I'm getting money on the street, 12, 13. This is around the times I started breaking away from my abusive household, right? So I'm in the streets. We all hanging out. It was a summer night. These girls stripped her down. These girls from Webster Avenue stripped her down. Now these girls look like the ground. I wrote this in my book. They look crazy, right? They ain't have no beauty, nothing about them. Like none of them. Like none of them did, right? They were mad because she was down there meeting with one of the boys down there, one of their neighborhood boyfriends. Mind you, I told you I used to go to any block. I'm gonna tell you this right now. Ain't nobody never touched me. I go on their block. This same block, now this neighborhood, I had to walk from College Avenue, right? I lived on College Avenue, 17 on College Avenue. You can walk all the way up the block to Finley Avenue, Teller Avenue, Clay Avenue, and then you going down the hill, and it's like a cut down, and you can go down to Webster, so you don't have to go all the way down and cut back up. So the projects was right there, Webster Projects. And we used to hang on Webster Projects. Now, when you going that way, that's the way to my mom's house. Mind you, my mom lived on Franklin Avenue. So I would walk on times, I would walk that way by myself and I would get stopped by these girls. And they would never, never, never mess with me. They would stop me and question me. I'm like, I'm going in my mother's house. They never pulled my hair. They never touched me. I had this aggressiveness about me growing up. And that's because, again, I was abused. And I can say this to say, I think being that I was so angry inside, it showed. Because you know what people used to tell me when I was growing up? Smile. You don't smile. I never smile. So everybody thought I was mad. Everywhere I walked, my brows used to be like that. I never showed my smile. I would show with my friends from time to time, but I was more so like still angry, like growing up from being abused, right? Because I was still in an abusive situation. But anyway, I would walk the same neighborhood that my friend walked to go see her friends, her boy. And I knew these same guys because I would go from Webster to Washington to 3rd Avenue to Avenue, and then to my mom's house to Franklin Avenue, and then Boston Road. Like I would walk that way because when I went, we would go walk that way, either walk or get in a cab. But I would walk some days because I wanted to see my peoples, my friends, and my first boyfriend lived on Washington Avenue. So I would walk from College Avenue to Washington Avenue, and I would walk right by their building. I knew all of those dudes. Them young dudes, because my friends were all messing with them. I never messed with those guys. My boyfriend was up the block. They messed with the guys on Webster. Webster was more grimy, very grimy. But Washington had the mild man boys. For some reason, like they were not as grimy as the guys on Webster. But mind you, so she walking this one night. It might be a part two. It is gonna be a part two of this. So she walking one night, and she over there going to see L. That's I'm gonna say that's the initial of his name, right? She over there going to see L. He good looking, fine, chocolate brother, look good. All of them, all my friends, not all of them, but like 3 of my friends was messing with 3 guys down there on Webster Avenue. Her sister, and another friend. And all them guys would look, they were young boys, wilding guys. When I tell you they was wilding, they were wilding. Anyway, these were the guys that you carry razors in their pocket, cut people and all of that. But we were friends with them. They didn't bother me. They see me, what up, what's going on, gal? Da, 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 da. They see me in the street. Where you going? Sometimes they used to walk me up the block, or you going up the block to see that ninja, whatever, whatever. But those were my peoples, right? But on this one night, she come to the block, part 2.